Hi everyone, welcome to Awesome Life TV. My name is Stephanie Zamora and today I'm here with one of my very good friends, Cheryl Chavarria, creator of The Convivial Woman. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks, Stephanie. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. Do you
Hanging out.
want to do you want to take a moment to just introduce yourself and tell everyone a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, sure. I'm Cheryl Chavarria, and I'm the creator of theconvivialwoman.com, which is a site that's all about conscious creation and convivial living. And I'll get more into that, more detail into what that's all about. But I'm also the author of the book Convivial: A Quest for the Masterpiece Within. And that's what we're here to talk about, partially.
Awesome. Yes, and definitely go to her site, theconvivialwoman.com, and check out Convivial. It's a beautiful work of art.
Thanks to some amazing talent on my team.
So today we're talking about a situation or an area in your life where you needed to take personal responsibility. So do you want to share a little bit of a backstory about that?
Personal responsibility. Well, I've got a couple of stories I can share. I thought about this. I've had quite a lot happen in the past decade, I'd say, of my life, because that's really why I decided to take personal responsibility as far as how I wanted to live my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I can start with quitting my job in banking.
Yeah, definitely.
It sounds glamorous. It's been quite a roller coaster ride, but I have no regrets. So it all starts with a feeling. That's what I always like to say. You know, you've got that inner voice, you've got your intuition, and it definitely speaks to you. Your heart is a very powerful tool that can guide you in your life. And so I was in banking for a while. It's how I put myself through school. I got a finance degree. You know, I was kind of taking the safe route and just doing what I needed to do to pay the bills.
Right.
And on the other hand, I was always drawn to writing. That was my best form of self-expression. Just felt like I needed to incorporate that more into my life, and it ended up kind of, the feeling just got very overwhelming, and I started just feeling miserable at work, and I just knew I had to make a change. I'm not the kind of person that expects that that's how life needs to be. You know, you have the power to create the change in your life. And so anyway, my last 6 months in banking were, you know, a little tough for me. And then I finally just created an exit plan for myself financially and decided to take a sabbatical to Mexico and just kind of reconnect with myself and get back to writing and see what new path I could get on. So.
Awesome. So talk a little bit about the sabbatical, because I really love that part of your story and what realizations you had and what you kind of figured out while you took it.
Well, I went to a beautiful town in central Mexico called San Miguel de Allende. It's an artist haven. All sorts of people head out there, and my in-laws happen to be out there as well. My husband's from there, so it was just a great opportunity for me to go out there. It's very colorful. It's very uneven, which is very much you know, like the path that we walk. And you know, you've got cobblestone streets out there, and realizations. Here's what I was thinking about today. You know, I really threw myself out there without realizing like what I did. I just needed to get away. I just needed to step away from everything that was familiar for me. And, you know, I left my country. I went somewhere that I had to speak a totally different language and use a different currency. I was with people that I, you know, rarely, you know, I wasn't around. I barely knew. I made new friends. And, I mean, I had to get to know this town. It wasn't my town. And I was there for almost 4 months.
Wow.
So, you know, I just realized, here's what my big realization, you know, you grow up and you hear people tell you, you can do whatever you want, you know, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it. And it kind of sounds like empty, you know, like sounds nice, but you really don't understand it until you experience it.
Right.
And what I understood from that experience, I set the intention, you know, I made the plan and I stuck to it and I did it. And just things started happening. You know, it's like that saying, leap and the net will appear. And that's what happened. I mean, I wanted to go out there and write. I wanted to go out there and mingle with other writers or artists. And that's exactly what I did. Once I put myself in position to do that, that's who I started attracting. So.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. I love it. So what challenges did you experience along the way?
Um, as far as that particular story goes, the number one challenge was I was not single. I was married, and I was probably 2 years married. So you could consider me a newlywed.
Right.
And I suddenly had this like epiphany, like, you know what? I've got to do something different. So getting my partner on the same page with me was very important. And it was, it's not easy when you have someone that you're kind of starting to build a life with, and then all of a sudden you decide, hey, you know what? I want to do something different. This isn't exactly what I'm envisioning for my life.
Right.
I need to take a break, or I need to step away and kind of evaluate. And it's important if you have a partner that's willing to give you the room to do that. And thankfully, mine was very supportive. Um, you know, I remember when and I started telling him, I need to do something. I need to quit my job, and I need to, I want to go to Mexico or whatever. However that all came about. And I remember he was like, "What? What's your plan? What are you going to be doing in the next 3 months?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't have those
Yeah.
answers, but I won't have those answers until I actually do this. So trusting and having someone kind of support you is very important.
Yeah, definitely. So what steps did you have to take? You took the sabbatical, you realized some things, then what happened?
Um, as as far as what,
As
like
far
getting to
as
Mexico or afterwards? Yeah,
afterwards, making the changes you wanted and needed to make.
yeah. It doesn't end. I mean, I went on sabbatical to reconnect, to evaluate what am I going to do next. That wasn't that was just like the transition. That wasn't the change. And I came back to Dallas, and yet again I had my partner telling me, "Okay, so you had your break, you had your fun. Are you going to go back to work? Let's buy a house. Let's do all these, regular, conventional, I guess, things." And I was like, wait a minute, I'm on a totally different path. I'm starting from scratch here. So I looked, I wanted to write. So I went into just looking for magazines to write for in Dallas, and just starting to connect with people and network. And it was scary. It was very intimidating. I don't know anyone in that field. So you have to kind of just be resourceful. That's very important. Be resourceful. Let people know what you're wanting to do, and if there's obviously passion, and if you're genuine and sincere about it, and you're backing your talk up, with the walk,
Right.
then they're going to want to help you. And so I worked for the Best City News magazine in Dallas briefly, and I found a way to support myself by working for a fellow entrepreneur. And honestly, I was thinking writing. I wasn't thinking entrepreneurship, but I came accidentally upon this whole entrepreneurial path by working with my cousin who had his own business, and it was a successful business. And so without realizing it, while I was pursuing writing, I was actually being schooled on the other side of work, which was the
Right.
business side, creating a business. So I came to really love that. And I ended up taking like a what do they call it? A 360-degree almost turn. And I decided to start my own business. I started a personal concierge in Dallas, and there was a lot of doubt there. There was a lot of uncertainty there, because it was like, wait a minute, I thought you wanted to be a writer. I thought you wanted to go down this path, but somehow I was veering down another path. But it was teaching me skills that I needed without realizing.
Right.
So just being open to that, being open to detours, very
Yeah,
important.
definitely. So, a
Hmm.
lot of times when we take responsibility for an area of our life where there's a lot of unhappiness or unfulfillment, it starts to shift everything. What other positive changes or results did you see?
Well, I started noticing who I was attracting into my life. People that thought like me. We were reading the same kind of books. We were lit up by the same types of just things, experiences. That was one aspect. I definitely, let's see, I was just changing. I mean, there's no amount of school. There's no books. There's no really advice that anyone can give you that can bring about the personal growth and the personal evolution that you will get if you really go down a path that's all your own. I mean, and there's no roadmap. You have to figure it out for yourself.
Right.
And just the growth that you get from that. I mean, you're going to deal with a lot of uncertainty and questions, and that to me is the part where you have to learn to be comfortable with that, because, you know, in society or generally we feel like we need to know it all, or we have to, you know, kind of put our best face forward, but you just don't, you're not going to have all the answers, and you have to kind of take it. It's like they say children are the best teachers. In the sense of they're always trying something new. They're always willing to put themselves out there. And that's really what we have to continue doing as adults. And school systems and, you know, if you go to work for someone else, you know, a big company or whatever, they train you to do a job. They don't train you necessarily to think outside the box. They talk about it, but they really don't give you the opportunities depending on where you're at.
Right. Yeah. So. Awesome. I love your story, and I love what you've created, you know, since obviously leaving your job and going through this journey. And so you said you had another story. Do you want to share another example of taking personal responsibility?
Yeah. I will talk about choosing where to live. You know, I was born in Odessa, Texas, and then I grew up in Chicago. That's quite a difference there, but and then I went to Dallas, and every place that I lived before, someone else chose for me. It was a result of my parents making those choices and me following them. But as an adult, I was ready to decide where do I want to live. For some reason, I just didn't feel like Dallas was my home. I never really felt at home there. And once I was done with college, I was ready to make a move with my job. I just felt like I've always felt these wings on my ankles. You know, I'm just like, my feet are not planted on the ground.
Right.
And I wanted to explore. I wanted to go try a different city. I don't know. It's just my spirit. It's just who I am. But I was like, my poor husband's getting a bad rap here. But I was not on my own to make that decision. I had to make it with someone else. And initially, you know, he was just getting his career started in Dallas, and so it was hard. And I didn't push the move as much, but I was needing it. I was personally needing and wanting it, but we didn't make it happen. That was back in 2005. But you know, I tried to make it work. I tried to make compromises, but the feeling never left me, and I just was trying to understand it. And even after having my first child, it was still there. Every time I would go somewhere different, I would just feel it. And I just decided, you know what? This feeling hasn't left me. I've done what I need to do on the other end to try to make it work. And it's still here. So I've got to do something. I've got to listen to it. I have to do something about that. And I decided, you know what? I've got to follow it. And it was definitely, I experienced some resistance, you know, with my husband, but we made it happen. It was a 3-year process, but finally made it happen. And, you know, I initially before wanted to go to like San Francisco or Boston or back to Chicago, go to a big city. But now that I had kids, I even made a compromise on my own dream, and I decided to stay in Texas. But if I was going to be in Texas, I wanted to be in Austin, because that's just, I felt something there. So,
yeah.
And once we got here, my feeling, I felt at home. I felt like I had nowhere I needed to be, and I could relax. So just choosing where to live. I mean, it's just, I think it's important if that's what you need. Right. You've got to listen to that feeling.
Yeah, and you touch on something important. I don't think you're giving your husband a bad rap, but it is a lot harder when you have someone else to consider, and especially when you have kids. Do you have any pointers on how to kind of handle that and still take care of your needs, but be considerate of those people in your life?
Yes. The way that I look at it, and this is something I always say, put yourself first. And I've questioned that. I've questioned myself saying that because it sounds selfish.
Yeah.
But the reason why I say that is because my whole life I have put myself first. I have put my best interest. What's in my best interest first? And when I have done that, everything has worked out in my favor. And when I have not done that, it's not. So even with a family, let's say putting myself first means taking time for myself, being willing to travel, back to Chicago to see my friends by myself. I know people who would not be willing to do that because they feel guilty, like, oh, you're leaving your family behind. But no, I'm still an individual. Mm-hmm. I'm still growing, and I'm committed to that personal growth, because if I make the time for that, then what I learn and what I gain, I bring back to my family. I bring back to my kids. I bring back to my relationship. You cannot allow yourself to be overrun by life. It's to be enjoyed, and that's on a relationship, with your relationship, as a family, and as an individual. You can't forget that. So advice, it's not always easy, but I think, like, for example, my move to Austin, some people, I remember a relative telling me, it's not all about you, Cheryl. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, it's not. This is a feeling that stems from me. It originates from me, but I have my family's best interest at heart. If it's a good move for my family, if I see good things for my husband career-wise, if there's no reason that I see that could harm, my family, then I don't see why not. I can't follow it.
Right.
So, just standing firm in what you believe and how you feel. If it doesn't go away.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, how about you talk a little bit about convivial living, because I know that's a big part of your branding and everything that you do and everything that you're about, and I absolutely love it. So I would love for you to share more about what that means and how people can incorporate it into their lives.
Yeah, thank you. Well, again, it goes back to a feeling. Emotion it drives everything, and I just simply put a word to that emotion. I'll give this story. The very first time I heard the word convivial, Julia Roberts, she was the one who said it, and Barbara Walters was interviewing her and asking her. It was during the whole filming of Ocean's 11, the first part, and so she was surrounded by all the great actors, and Barbara Walters asked her, so what was it like being on the set with all of these amazing actors? What was that experience like? And very calmly, she just said, convivial. And I remember the feeling I got when I heard her say that. And I thought, wow, and I probably ran to the dictionary, online to look it up. I thought, wow, she said one word to describe an entire experience. Who knows how long it took to describe various people that were part of that experience. And I've really come to understand that. I mean, I think that that's the essence of who we are as human beings. We all want to experience joy. When you think about, when you're with your family and everybody's getting along and you're sitting at the table eating, it's about presence, and you're having a good time, and you're talking, and you're drinking, you're feasting, you're among good company. And when you're with friends, same thing. You seek out those experiences that bring that convivial feeling, that convivial nature out in you. So I think travel is a really big deal, because when you go out there, whether you're by yourself or you're traveling with family, you're taking in the world. You're utilizing the five senses that you were given. And you're changing as a result of all of that. You're reacting to the world and that experience in that moment. Taking time for yourself, not forgetting to do that, because it's very easy, with job, family, household stuff, whatever it is, building a business, it's easy to forget about yourself and right. Self-care and self-love and just relaxing. That's another form of a convivial feeling. So whatever brings that feeling out for you, it's different for everybody. Seek it out. That's what I encourage everyone to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing both of your stories. I love you, and I loved having you here.
Thank you so much.